So let's see the main control, GridView control today, right? How we can actually show the data. Fine. So let me create a new project. So make it as a visual format. Okay, so this let me create a So in our ASP.NET, right, we have GridView control, and it works only for ASPX pages, basically, right? When we actually go, when the same to make it on MVs, right, it won't be available. So here, now in our data, you can see there is something called GridView. Now, basically, GridView is a control where you can actually show some set of data, like you have rows and columns. If you have multiple data which you can see and make use of data, showing things on different pages and all, right? So you can actually go ahead and use your GridView control. So today we'll see GridView control in both the ways, how you can actually directly set your data source, right? And also how we can actually set GridView through coding, right? How we can actually fill the data set using a query, using a store procedure, right? How we can actually do that. Okay. So first let's start with the data source one. So even before that, right, let's see different properties of GridView, right? Now you can see these properties, right, for GridView. You'll see most of them, and GridView is a rich grid control we have, right? Introduced in .NET, where it will give you multiple functionalities to directly connect to database directly, and which will give you a live feel of getting data. Right? So here, first let's start with the simple properties here. Now when you click on this, right, you have a simple module. So here you can see there are few selections here. Now among them, first let's see the auto format one, right? So basically, without even applying the CSS, right, you can actually apply different themes here. You can see there are different themes for your table which you can apply, or rather for your GridView, you can actually apply the theme actually. So let me apply this. So by default, you can actually apply. So without even applying your CSS. So this is something which is your auto formatting option, right? And the next one you can see that it says choose data source. Now this is one of the best options which we have in .NET for many controls. We have seen this for list view, we have seen this for combo blocks and all, right? Where you can actually select your data source, which can be input to your grid, right? If you don't have any data source, you can always go to source particles. If you have SQL data source, which you have, if you want to connect to your SQL server or any other sources, right? You can actually. So either you can drag and drop this SQL server. I can just drag and drop the SQL server data source, right? And you can have your configured data source, because I haven't configured the SQL server data source yet. So you have many connection strings which you have used across projects, but let me just create a new connection. Let's say I'm going to connect to the same database which I've used, which is a college database, let's say, right, which contains, let me just consider the students table here. Let me right click and get the data. So we are going to show all the student details on grid now, using some we'll see more rich controls which we have already. So till that loop, select this database. Let's select the server node first. And let's select the database as college database, test connection. Start clicking off. Now this is my data source which created. Let me save this connection soon. So it's loading here. Yeah, we have some connections created with catalog college, right? Now let me create the next here, and we have college connections. Next, and now you can see. So this data source, right? You can actually set any setting because we have multiple tables in your college database, right? You can actually select any of them, or if you want to select any store user to mention, you can do it, right? If you want to mention any store user, then so let me select a table where I want all the details of students, right? You can see the query part here. Let's start with click on next. Now, if you want to test, you can test your query, right? Where you will get all the details of your current IQ table you have. Click on now your source is ready. Now you can tag your source now. So choose you can tag your source. As soon as you select it, you can see by default whatever data you have to table, right, you get selected on it. Now let's run this and see how it actually pops in page. Let me make it as startup page, and let me make this GridView project as startup project and start this. Right, so whenever it renders on a page, right, so it will actually get rendered as a grid view, but internally it will actually render everything as an HTML as table. We'll see the source part too. So we did load the page view. Yeah. Okay, so this is a preview. You can see where it will get all the real data you have. Now, even if you add something here, right? So let's add a new data. So let me just take this script, right? So let's say we have 9 items here, right? So let me take the item 10, or rather, inserting. Let's say I'm going to delete data from some data from here. Delete